What's up guys, back at it with another late night banger. What's going on? So let's talk about the fuel system now that we got for the 240. So this is our whole fuel system that we're going to be running, not counting the lines. So we got our 21 gallon fuel cell. This is a normal fuel cell, foamed on the inside. That's the lid. And then also a hanger on the inside, so you can see how much fuel you have. So I used to have the stock fuel tank for this car, and I actually looked a lot for the fuel pump and the fuel float, but ever since we got that turbo and we're gonna be boosting the 5.3, I figured we needed something crazier. So I decided to get the 21 gallon fuel cell, same one that we have in the Supra, and then I went ahead and pretty much re-replicated our fuel system in the Supra for this. I went ahead and got two AEM 400 LHPs, or AEM 400s they call them. These massive big boys we're gonna run under the car, and then these guys came with the check valve, the flow fitting check valve, and the other fitting for the end. So that was super cool. It also comes with some of the connecting hardware for the wiring. That was super sick. So we got that. We slapped on some of these stickers we had. Chase Bays, AEM, Kuru Works, big shout out to them.
Alright guys, I'm gonna interrupt today's video with our sponsor, LastFit. So LastFit is a new company that has recently developed in the US, and they make some LED lights and a ton of other stuff. We have some other products that they sent me as well that we'll do in a separate video for the 240, but this is one of the first items they went ahead and supplied me with. These are amber turn lights, and their part numbers right there, but they sent me these for the 240 SX. So right now it's covered, it's going through some stuff, but as you guys seen in the older videos, we had some brand new headlights that we had got. Now they're a little faded. The headlights aren't new, but the tail lights are new. So I was gonna replace all the bulbs anyways, from the old janky bulbs to these. So let's show you. So in our car, the wiring for the lights, as you guys can see, the car came with some of these like orange halogen bulb lights, which are very nice, not bad, but LED is always nicer. So we're gonna go ahead and swap over to these nice LEDs that they sent us. Very easy, you just open the packaging. You don't wanna touch the bulb itself. We wanna grab the top and be able to install it into your new housing. So just like that, the old, these aren't so old, but the old style bulbs are out. And we got the brand new style LastFit amber bulbs installed for the 240 SX. Very, very nice. Thank you, LastFit, for the bulbs. We're gonna throw these in the rear as well. But if you guys are looking for a set, I'll have links in the description so you guys get yourself one. Thank you, LastFit, for sponsoring today's video. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video.
And then next we got our AEM fuel pressure regulator. Part number is that, but this is pretty much the same one that's on the Supra. Like I said, re-replicating that system. Got one of these, comes with a nice bracket too. And then last, we got our fuel filter. Script blue billet anodized 100 micron fuel filter. And yeah, their kit also comes with the hanger, and as well as dash 10, dash 8, and dash 6 for your fuel system. So with this, I was reading the AEM manual, and it says that you want to run dash 8 for 500 to 700 horsepower. You could run dash 6 because the Supra right now makes 600 and it has dash 6, but yeah, we're probably gonna do dash 8. I'm gonna make all the hoses and lines and stuff myself at TriggaSpec, since we have the crimping machine. But yeah, this Holley Sniper intake manifold, the fuel rails, which are right here, as you guys can see, it's a dash 8 feed, and then it has a dash 6 return. So probably we're gonna keep this whole system dash 8 going to the motor, and then we'll have a dash 6 for the return. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the fuel system. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for this and were questioning why I sold the fuel tank. And yeah, if you're a 240 owner, obviously you don't want to sell your fuel tank because it's hard to find one and everything. But yeah guys, this is pretty much the whole setup that we're gonna be running, so super exciting. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and then we'll be doing the installation. But I figured I'd share this with you guys since so many people are asking about it. So obviously the fuel cell is going to be going in the trunk. I went ahead and painted this trunk flat black So you guys can see, don't mind the foam, that's for the wide body. The flat back came out sick. I integrated these two brackets. I originally was going to, as you guys see, 2x4 with some brackets. I originally was going to get this trunk piece that LRB makes, the same people who make these door cards, and I was gonna get that, and it just covers this whole area pretty much, and you're able to utilize and put the fuel cell on, but they're unfortunately moving, so they're not gonna be around for a few months. So yeah, we're just gonna have to do this. So yeah, that's it. And we got our secondary, which will go right here, just like that, house made. So next I'm gonna take the fuel cell and I'm gonna bring it in here, and as you guys can see, I pre-drilled the holes already for the fuel cell to sit, and then I'll go ahead and mark up the spots where we're gonna self-tap it in so it's secure and set to go. All right, so we went ahead and threw the fuel cell in, checked that out, looking good. And then the wood is installed, mounted bracket, just like that. Works perfectly fine. Super sick. Bam, just like that, we're in the future. All right, so we did the swap, everything. So I don't know what happened when I was filming this whole thing with the fuel system. I don't know if I lost the footage or etc, but I did majority of the fuel system. So I showed you guys everything in the beginning of the video that we had. Now I made all the lines since I own a crimping machine for TriggaSpec. I'm able to do everything custom myself, so I went ahead and did that. Now I can show you guys, and we're gonna finish this up today. So 240 obviously has got a lot done to it ever since. We got our engine in there now, our turbo kit on, our oil feed, oil return for the turbo, everything, a lot of stuff. But in the video I showed you guys the fuel regulator before. We got this installed. We have the Mondingo -8 hose PTFE coming all the way up, heat sleeved for the car. So I think last we saw we had the fuel cell mounted on the 2x4 inside the car, and we had these in the boxes, but now I went ahead and installed everything. So we got the two AEM 450s, I want to say, 400s is what they are. So AEM 400s, and then we have these hoses. So I made all these hoses. These are custom. If somebody does a 240 swap and wants to do this fuel system, I can provide you with this system, but I mainly made this for me. So we got our -10 from the fuel cell going to a -8 right here. Elbows, because it's very hard to get these aligned. Elbows into the pump. This is where the flow is going to go, and then we got our little filters to each pump, and then it's going to go straight. So in the Supra, it's kind of the same thing. It's gravity fed, and that's what's nice about this. So gravity feeds it to the pumps. Pumps pick it up right there. Now, when it goes under here, as you can see, we have a Y fitting right there. Now that Y fitting connects both those fuel lines from the pumps to the Y, and then it becomes one hose that's going all the way pretty much. So feeds the pumps go from 2 to 1, and 1 goes through here, this little hole. That's a nice exit. And then as well, we have one more hose coming up, if you guys are wondering what that is. This is our fuel return system we're gonna install. So after this, so when we come under here, underneath the car, we have our fuel lines routed all the way through. It goes on top of the subframe. So the fuel lines on top of the subframe, routed all the way through. It goes up right here, and then comes clamped down nicely through there, and then it comes to our fuel filters. Now I got 2 fuel filters. I got one with the arrow facing this way. This is what's feeding the engine. So I ran all the fuel hoses all nice P-clamped up on the frame rail going all the way to the front, and then we have our return one as well, which I installed the return fitting for, so it goes to the tank, as you guys saw. But now this is the one that's remaining that we need to do. But check this out, this looks very nice under here. So as you guys saw, fuel line goes underneath the car through the frame rail, comes all the way up on the frame rail right there, as you guys can see, and then it comes up to our fuel pressure regulator. Now the regulator goes ahead and sits in the perfect spot right there, and we have our manifold. So on our manifold, since we have the Holy Sniper, as you guys remember, we have fuel rails, and then we have the U that goes around for the fuel lines. On this setup, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run the feed here. So it's gonna feed, cross over, go back, and then this is gonna be the return. Now, if you guys notice, the feed line is, so this is what we're gonna use for the regulators to the rails. They're big -8s. These are humongous fuel lines. This is for high horsepower cars. For the return though, which is right here, this hose that I have made, these guys are much smaller. So the return is a -6 that I'm going to be using, because a lot of the fuel is going to get used, and then whatever is being pushed back into the fuel tank from this port of the manifold. Pretty much what we're going to do is mount this guy up like this, go in here, is going to feed the manifold from here, coming through, U over, go back, and then the return is going to follow the feed back down to our fuel filter that I showed you guys. And then the rest is already routed to the can, so everything is set to go. So pretty much now we're going to mount the manifold to the engine and then go ahead and install our feed line. And then next thing we need to do too is install the return to the fuel filter underneath the car, and then start P-clamping its way back up like we did with these other guys, up to kind of this general area where we will be doing the return to the manifold. And then I also got some of the fittings we're going to need for the BOV to the manifold. This is for, what is this for? Fuel pressure regulator. And then this guy was for our map sensor, since I think this car ran on speed density. And then I also got 2 plugs for the other ports on the manifold to be plugged. And then this, I believe, was for the stock PCV on the car. It goes to the manifold, but I am going to be running a catch can on this. As you guys can see, we did the TriggaSpec fitting for it, so that's no use, so I just need to get capped. But anyways, let's get doing this. We went ahead first, routed our return line right there, mounted nice and tight to our return filter. We gotta run them going, we gotta P-clamp them. But I wanted to come up here before we do any of the other stuff and make sure this fits. So that's our -8 feed going in right there, going to our fuel rail. Very, very nice, looking very good with the manifold on. Looks nice and snug, everything looking just like it should. So for the return, one thing I was noticing was that this guy is right in front of this. This is where our return is going to be, and we put it straight on my line, so I have to get a 90-degree adapter that goes here, that adapts like that, 90 done, so that way we can connect the return right here and be good to go. But yeah, it's pretty much easy. So now we're going to go ahead and start P-clamping like we did for the feed, P-clamping the return so it's nice and snug, and then we're set up.